Welcome back, class 10, your civics class. Continuing with chapter 1, the Union Executive. Today we will study control over the executive or administrative affairs. The Constitution lays down that the Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the people of the House. So, what does it mean? The Council of ministers under the Prime Minister, those who sit in the Lok Sabha, they are unitedly or collectively responsible to the House of the people. The minister continue in office so long as they enjoy the confidence of a majority of members in the Lok Sabha. The ruling party can enjoy the status of a ruling party as long as the ruling party enjoys the confidence of the majority vote of the Lok Sabha. There are several devices or ways, there are various ways through which the parliament exercises control over the executive. There are a lot of ways by which the parliament controls the executive. Number 1, question hour or interpellation. The first hour, these are often asked in your exam. Question hour or interpellation, interpellation, interpellation. The first hour of sitting in the house, in both houses, is allotted for asking and answering questions. So the first hour of sitting when the house starts is allotted for asking and answering questions. The purpose of the question is to obtain information on a matter of public importance or to ventilate a grievance. So, what is the purpose? The purpose of the question is to obtain information on why questions are asked. Either to vent out your grievance, you are not satisfied with the government or the working on a particular thing of the government, or you want to obtain an information, want to get an information regarding a matter of public interest. The question hour keeps the ministers on the toes. But the question hours, the ministers are always alert because they don't know what type of questions will be bombarded. It is a valuable protection against injustice and slackness. Slackness means laziness on the part of the government. If there are questions asked, the government will be active. If there are no questions asked, the government will not be active. Adjournment motion. Motion for adjournment furnishes the opportunity of censure the acts of omissions and commissions of ministers and administrators. An adjournment motion pinpoints the failure of the government in the performance of the duty. It is moved only in the Lok Sabha. Adjournment motion is adjourned, pinpoints the fault of the government, and this can be moved. So a motion is moved. When a motion is in action, we say the motion is moved. These are technical terms. It is moved only in the Lok Sabha. Adjournment motion is not moved in the Rajya Sabha. Remember it. The following are some important subjects. See, if something horrendous or very important happens in the country, instead of discussing, which was due to be discussed in the Lok Sabha, that motion is adjourned and these important things are discussed. For example, if an IPS officer is killed in a place of worship, death of several persons due to consumptions of liquor, there is a terrorist attack, there is a railway accident, these type of serious national calamities, when it happens, adjournment motion is passed. Censure motion or no confidence motion. Now, censure motion may be moved against a group of ministers or an individual minister. This type of motion can be moved against a single minister or a group of ministers, expressing strong approval of their policy or some deed. If a minister or a group of ministers does something which is not acceptable, censure motion can be passed. Adoption of the censure motion would result the resignation of the government. The ruling government has to resign. But a vote of censure against a particular minister has no effect. Okay. No confidence motion is moved against the member or leader of the opposition. If the motion is carried, the government has to resign. If a no confidence motion is moved against moved by a member or a leader of a opposition against the ruling party, and if that no confidence motion is passed, the ruling party has to resign. The government collapses. I mean, the resigns, and there has to be a election. Monetary controls. When the budget is under consideration, a cut motion may be moved. There are three kinds of cut motions. Parliamentary Committee on Accounts ensure that public money is spent in accordance to the Parliament's decisions. It examines reports of the Comptroller and the Auditor General. So, the Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts ensures that money collected, public's money in the form of tax and now GSTs and all sorts of things, they are spent according to the Parliament's decision according to what has been decided for the good of the people. Amendment of the Constitution. The bill to amend means change certain things in the Constitution, may originate in either house. It may be passed by each house by a majority of the total membership of the house, as well as two-thirds majority of the members present and voting. If an amendment bill seeks to make changes in some specified matters, it shall also require to be approved by at least half of the state legislature. So, if an amendment bill seeks to change some changes on a specific matter, it will also require to be approved by at least half of the state legislature. Elected members, electoral functions. Elected members of both houses of the parliament and members of the legislative assemblies elect the President of India. The Vice President is elected by the members of the both houses of the parliament. The Speaker is elected by the Lok Sabha from among its members by a simple majority of the members present and voting. So these things you have to remember. Now, judicial power. The parliament exercises certain powers in the judicial nature as well. Number one, the president can be removed from his office by impeachment. Remember the term. What is impeachment? Impeachment, how it is done. A resolution accusing the president may be initiated, may be started in either house of the parliament. It must be passed by a majority of not less than two-thirds of the total membership of the house. Okay. The charge should then be investigated by the house. If the house finds the president guilty, the impeachment succeeds and the president is removed from the office. This is the whole process of impeachment. Even the judges of the High Court and Supreme Court are also impeached. Same process. If the accusation against the president is proved, you have to prove it, is proved, it must first is what? First, the impeachment motion has to be initiated, start from some house, either of the houses. It has to be passed by a simple majority of not less than two-thirds of the total members. If that is done, then the proceedings will start whether the accusations against the president are true or not. If the accusation is proved, then the president has to resign. This is number one. Number two, a judge of the Supreme Court or the High Court cannot be removed by the president except on a joint address by the both houses. Number three, the parliament may punish a person for obstructing the work of the parliament or showing disrespect to the house. And number four, the parliament may punish a person for obstructing the house or parliament or showing disrespect of the house. Why this point is given twice, I don't know. Anyway, it is the same point. The Parliament may punish a person for obstructing the work of the Parliament or showing disrespect to the House. What are the other powers and functions of the Parliament? There are certain other powers also. The Parliament has a few other powers as well. Number one, it makes laws regarding the composition and power of the Supreme Court. Number two, the Parliament may establish a common high court for two or both states. Yes, technically, a single state should have uh, their own. Each state should have their own high court, but Supreme Court, but the Parliament can establish a common high court for two or more states. Uh, for example, Guwahati High Court enjoys jurisdiction of four states: Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, and Nagaland. These four states have a single high court, that is Guwahati High Court. Like this. The Parliament, now, third point is the Parliament may alter the names and boundaries of the state. Names of the state: Calcutta to Kolkata, then Bombay to Mumbai, then Assam to Ahom, and things like that. The Parliament can change. The new states may be established by separation, yes, separations of territories. The Parliament is the supreme forum where people, through their representatives, seek to validate their grievances and desire. People can ask for correction, or they can vent out their grievances or desire. That means it is the ultimate house of justice. It is the ultimate house of justice. Okay. How? I mean, it is not ultimate house of justice is Supreme Court, but in the Parliament, what happens is the MPs keep and watch over the behavior of the administration, right? The opposition constantly exposes the failures of the government. Moreover, there is a series of demonstrations by peasants or workers and women. We all know that recently how the peasants have demonstrated. Others for or against something when the Lok Sabha is in session. Regarding this farmers' bill, it is still not passed because the farmers are agitating. So the demonstrators' voice needs and aspirations of the people is reached to the Lok Sabha. So it is still not passed. Whether it is good for the country or bad for the country, that's a different issue. The agitation of the farmers have gone to such a level that the bill is not yet passed. Okay. Privileges and immunities of members of the Parliament. Immunities, advantages. They are immune, they cannot be touched in certain things. Parliamentary privileges are those peculiar rights without which the member of the House cannot discharge their functions fearlessly or in an effective way. If they are in constant fear of something, they cannot discharge their duties. Number one, freedom of speech. The Constitution lays down that there shall be freedom of speech in the Parliament. No member shall be liable to proceedings in any court for anything said or any vote given by him in the Parliament. No member can be accused in the court for what he has said in the Parliament, or he is not liable to be arrested by any court for any vote which he has given in the Parliament. Freedom from arrest. The MPs enjoy freedom from arrest during the continuance of session in the Parliament during a period of 40 days before and after each session. When the session is in progress, 40 days before the start of the session and 40 days after the end of the session, a MP cannot be arrested. On the 41st day, he can be. This immunity is confined to arrest only in civil cases. Civil cases means not criminal cases. During criminal cases, he can be arrested. Whenever a member is arrested or detained, the concerned authority should immediately inform the Speaker or the Chairman regarding the reason for such arrest. If a member is arrested or detained by some court or by police, the concerned authority, court or police, has to inform the Speaker or the Chairman, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, why that person why the member is arrested. Freedom from jury service. The MPs enjoy freedom from attendance as juries and witnesses in the court of law. The MPs are not required if to be a witness. Suppose an MP is involved in some sort of case which that MP might be a witness. The MP enjoys freedom from the attendance. He might attend, might not attend. He's not. No one can force him to attend attend the court as a juror or a witness and a witness. Powers to regulate the affairs of the House. Each House of Parliament has the power to regulate the internal affairs of the House, to exclude strangers from galleries at any time. Any strangers like you and me can be kicked out from the Parliament at any time, or to punish the members and outsiders for contempt of the House. Contempt means defaming the House, insulting the House. So, in today's class, we have studied control over executive and administrative affairs, amendment of the constitution, electoral functions, judicial powers, other functions, and privileges and immunities of the members of the parliament. Okay, it's a very big chapter. In the next class, we will start with exclusive powers of the two houses. What are the exclusive powers of the two houses? Okay, so I hope you have understood this class. So that is all for today.